Omicron confirmed as dominant variant in Sarawak. Search operation continues for a second day in Tanjung Manis. And Malaysia's economy rebounds 3.6%. Those are the headlines for today. I'm Henny Gui and this is TVS Nightline. Sarawak aims to produce more highly skilled students in tandem with the state's aspiration of becoming a developed state. In view of this, the Minister of Education, Innovation and Talent Development (MEITD) is targeting at least 45% of students in the science stream by 2030. Therefore, educators play a vital role in emphasizing science subjects.
And especially for now, we target to be under the PCDS post-COVID development strategy for 2030, that at least 45% of our students must be in the science stream. Because our state policy is to get our state to be involved in the modern economy, which involve a lot of matters relating to science. And of course, as you know, even though we talk about technical and vocational training, these are also related to science subjects.
Saga said this at the opening ceremony of the adjournment of Teachers Action Research Colloquium Education Office PPD in Syrian on Friday. Saga added that the young generation also needs to be aware the importance of science and technology in realizing the state aspirations.
We also need to recognize, especially the younger generation, the importance of adopting technology to stay relevant in the ever-changing landscape, so as the state can achieve its vision as a developed state with a high income status by the year 2030.
Meanwhile, SK Semadak Syrian teacher Natasha Nuralanis Zulkifli also had the opportunity to present her method on teaching and learning process PDP.
Jadi untuk kolokium pada hari Tok Dek, kami membentangkan satu kajian kami lah yang kami pola di sekolah, di mana kami gunakan a stand-alone mobile learning application yang kami panggil I Agree untuk bantu anak murid kami di sekolah untuk lebih faham konsep bahasa Inggeris. Jadi bilanya faham konsep bahasa Inggeris tu, nya akan jadi lebih orang kata dapat menulis ayat bahasa Inggeris yang lebih betul, lebih tepat.
LONGI Kuching will become the largest producer of solar ingots, wafers and cells in Malaysia as the expansion of its facilities at Samajaya in the third quarter of 2022 has completed. LONGI has chosen Sarawak for its new investment plan valued at 1.789 billion ringgit to expand its manufacturing facilities, which will provide 1,730 employment opportunities in the state. These high-income manufacturing activities are in line with Sarawak's post-COVID-19 development strategy PCDS 2030 that aims to achieve a high-income economy. Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Minister for International Trade, Industry and Investment, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, expressed his appreciation to LONGI in choosing Sarawak over Vietnam. For its ambitious expansion plan, this reflects their full confidence in the state's leadership. Awang Tengah also gave assurance that the state government would give its full support to ensure the successful implementation of the new investment. LONGI Kuching started its operation in 2016 and invested 2.1 billion ringgit in Sarawak. Sarawak Deputy Police Commissioner DCP Dato' MANCHA Atta is now the acting Sarawak Police Commissioner, taking over from the outgoing Sarawak Police Commissioner Dato' ID Ismail, who has been appointed as Director of Crime Prevention and Community Safety Department in Bukit Aman. The handing over of duties ceremony between ID and MANCHA was held at Sarawak Police Contingent Headquarters, witnessed by Bukit Aman's Director of the Department of Integrity and Standard Compliance, Dato' Azri Ahmad.
Jika dimas kembali kepada sejarah perkhidmatan saya di Kota Sarawak yang mula pada 18 Februari 2020 dan hari ini genaplah setahun 4 bulan dan 2 hari saya menjawab jawatan sebagai Sultan Kota Sarawak. Walau tempoh ini agak singkat bagi saya, namun banyak pengalaman manis maupun pahit yang saya lalui sebagai teguh bersama-sama tuan-tuan dan perempuan pegawai kanan dan anggota serta kategori awam di Kota Sarawak ini.
Komisioner Polis Dato' ID Ismail telah menjalankan tugas dan tanggungjawab beliau dan penuh dedikasi dan cemerlang dalam memastikan keselamatan dan ketenteraman awam di negeri ini sentiasa terpelihara dan masyarakat dapat meneruskan kehidupan dengan aman, damai dan tenang tanpa sebarang pergolakan yang boleh mengganggu juga keharmonian lapisan masyarakat di negeri Sarawak.
Also held at the ceremony was the handover of the position of the Police Family Association Sarawak Contingent Chairman between Datin Raja Asau Dat Raja Muda to Datin Janita William as the acting chairman. Now, authorities have intensified the search operation to locate the 2 missing crew members of a cargo vessel that capsized in Muara Serdang, Tanjung Manis on Wednesday. The victims, identified as Rosman Bakar, 52, and another crew member whose identity has yet to be known. A spokesperson from Tanjung Manis Fire and Rescue Station, Awang Busra Awang Mustafa, said the search operation on the second day started at 9:10 a.m., covering a radius of 6 kilometers around Sungai Serdang and Telok Gelam. However, he said the whereabouts of the victims are still yet to be known. The SAR operation on the first day had to be halted due to heavy rain. According to a statement from the Fire and Rescue Department Bombas Sarawak Operations Centre, only 1 crew member of the boat incident was rescued by the public around 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, who was the boat's skipper, identified as Muhammad Dolah, 66, and was rushed to Sarikei Hospital for further treatment. The vessel, laden with heavy machinery, capsized at around midnight on Wednesday. So far, the cause of the incident has yet to be ascertained, and the case is still under investigation. Police have busted a syndicate selling illegal 4-digit lottery tickets under the guise of operating at a canteen along Jalan Nangka Wak in Pakand. Further investigation also found that the premises was able to rake in an average profit of RM250 per day. Julau District Police Chief Deputy Superintendent Andam Sulin said the operator of the premises had also organized illegal online gambling activities apart from the illegal lotteries. The police also seized various items, namely a mobile phone, a mobile printing machine, a piece of paper printed with lottery numbers, and RM175 cash. The 43-year-old male suspect is being arrested and items seized under Section 4, Bracket 1, Bracket C of the Common Gaming Houses Act 1953. The case is also being investigated under Section 4, Bracket A of the same Act. Electricity supply at 9 premises, which were believed to be used for gambling activities, were cut off in an operation conducted by the police. Kuching Police Chief Assistant Commissioner of Police Ashman Baja said the integrated operation was conducted in cooperation with Sarawak Energy Berhad SEB to stem off any possible reoccurrence of such activities at the said premises.
Kita dah peruntukkan di bawah Seksyen 21A Seksyen 21A akan menjadi terbuka untuk membolehkan kita bersama-sama dengan SESCO untuk menghitung bekalan elektrik yang ada. Dan mereka ni kalau perlu pemilik premis ni untuk menyambungkan semula balik, dia kena apply dengan dia lah. Dan dia kena apply dengan pihak SESCO. Dan kita akan bersama mereka untuk menengok, buat kajian balik boleh atau tidak boleh disambungkan semula. Kalau kita dapati masih ada lagi elemen-elemen kegiatan perjudian, no way, kita tidak akan sambung.
Ashmon added that a total of 32 raids were carried out since June 2021 to eliminate online gambling activities.
Wah, daripada 32 itu kebetulan sudah 23 kes kita berjaya dakwa. Dan salah satu daripada kes itu kita turut mendakwa pemilik kediaman itu. Bukan sahaja penganjur, bukan sahaja pemain, tetapi pemilik bangunan telah kita dakwa. Manakala yang
As of January 2022, a total of 48 individuals have been charged for organizing and operating online gambling activities. This includes the arrest of foreign citizens who will be investigated under Section 15(1)(c) of the Immigration Act.
Itu pun saya bawa dia untuk cuba-cuba dia lah kalau dia minat. Untuk serapkan dia ke masa tu kan ada pemilihan untuk masuk ke Wakil Sarawak.
Kali ujung-ujung cuba pada ringan las-las. Ya jadi minat sampai dia tu.
Seboleh-bolehnya semua masuk anak-anak. Daripada saya bapa dia masuk powerlifting sampai anak. Kalau boleh lah.
Kalau tak membawa saya ke sukan powerlifting ni mungkin saya tak tahu dunia sukan.
Welcome back. The Omicron variant of concern VOC has been confirmed to completely replace the Delta variant and is the single dominant circulating variant in Sarawak. From 20 of January to 6 February 2022, a total of 77 samples of positive cases were successfully sequenced by the Institute of Health and Community Medicine (IHCM) of the University Malaysia Sarawak. All samples were identified as the Omicron VOC to indicate a 100% detection rate.
The Institute Director, Professor Dr. David Pereira, revealed this today in his report to the Sarawak Disaster Management Committee Chairman, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugambas. Dr. David added the Omicron positive cases were identified in Kuching, Sibu, Miri and Bintulu. Of the imported cases, he said they were from Selangor, Pahang and Johor. Of the Omicron sample sequence, 71 were identified as the BA.1.1 lineage, 3 as BA.1 and the other 3 as the highly infectious BA2 lineage detected in Sibu, Miri and Kuching. Therefore, in view of the increase in positive cases nationwide, Dr. David, who is a member of the Sarawak COVID-19 Vaccine Advisory Group, SCOVAC, advised the public to immediately get their booster shot if they have not done so. He said studies had shown that a booster is necessary to boost waning neutralizing antibody levels to protect from Omicron infection and hospitalization.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob reiterated the federal government's stand today that it would not reinforce any Movement Control Order MCO or declare another emergency. He said Malaysians need to live with COVID-19 and view it as an endemic, just like other infectious diseases.
Meanwhile, Health Ministry Khairi Jamaluddin said the country is taking prudent steps before it decides to transition from the COVID-19 pandemic to the endemic phase, adding that careful approach to ensuring COVID-19 cases in Malaysia, especially those involving hospital admissions, won't continue to surge. On the COVID-19 development, the rise in daily infections continues as Malaysia recorded 20,939 new infections today. However, 99.44% of the cases recorded today were in categories 1 and 2. They were either asymptomatic or had symptoms but not a lung infections or worse.
With fewer than 50% of the Malay community having taken the booster jab so far, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said better communication is needed to convince them, especially through social media. However, Khairi said the rate of booster jabs given daily was rising, with 81.3% of Chinese and 56.4% of Indian adults having completed their third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine as of February 10th. Adding to that, the Health Minister said receiving a booster dose has proven to be the best step in the effort to curb the fast-spreading Omicron variant. He said Sarawak had the highest booster jabs rate so far, with about 76.8% of the state's adult population having taken their third doses as of February 10th. This was followed by Malacca and the Klang Valley with 71.9% and 66.9% of the adult population on 3 doses respectively. Sabah had the worst booster jab rate, with only 24.8% of the adults, followed by Kelantan 25.3%, Perlis 30.9% and Terengganu 38.4%. Currently, only 55.9% of Malaysia's adult population have received their booster jabs. A total of 1,055 schools have been identified to be used as vaccination centres PPV for the National COVID-19 Immunisation Programme for Children or PIC-KIDS, which will be operational by Monday, February 14th. Deputy Health Minister Datuk Dr. Noor Azmi Ghazali said the number of school PPVs is expected to increase from time to time. Dr. Noor Azmi, who is also the chairman of the COVID-19 Immunisation Task Force for Children or CITFC, said for vaccination in schools, a list of eligible children would be provided by the school and would be implemented by the school health team or private medical practitioners. He also reminded parents or guardians to register their dependents through the MySejahtera account to get a vaccination appointment and digital vaccination certificate, while those who do not have the facility, the date and location of the appointment will be informed by the school management. He said the Ministry of Education MOE had also agreed to set up a group appointments for vaccination at schools or vaccination centres that had been identified by the District Health Office and the District Education Office to ensure the smooth implementation of the vaccination exercise. As a measure to avoid congestion at the PPV, Dr. Noor Azmi said only one of the parents or guardians was allowed to accompany the child, adding that parents should ensure that the child to be vaccinated gets adequate rest and take breakfast and drink enough water before going for vaccination. PIC-KIDS was started on February 3rd, targeting 3.6 million children aged 5 to under 11 to protect children from COVID-19 infection. It also aims to ensure that the infection risk in schools can be contained, thus preventing clusters among school children. As of yesterday, a total of 79,393 or 2.2% of children from the ages of 5 to 11 in the country have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, Malaysia's economy rebounded 3.6% in the fourth quarter of 2021, driven by higher external demand. Overall, Malaysia's economic performance in the 2021 revealed a recovery momentum with a growth of 3.1% compared to a decline of 5.6% in 2020.
This brings the overall economic growth for 2021 to 3.1%. On a monthly basis, GDP turned around to record positive growth in October amid easing containment measures. On a seasonal adjusted quarter-on-quarterly basis, GDP expanded at a strong pace of 6.6%. On the supply side, all sectors recorded an improvement in the fourth quarter.
The nation's good economic performance meets the official projections of Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM), which is a growth of between 3 to 4% for 2021. Muhammad Uzair added, last year's economic performance is still below the 2019 pre-pandemic level. However, the economic performance in the fourth quarter of 2021 exceeded the level of the fourth quarter of 2019 by 0.01%. Meanwhile, the economic performance in the fourth quarter of 2021 on the supply side was primarily driven by the manufacturing, services, and agriculture sectors. While on the demand side, all expenditure components experienced positive performance except for gross fixed capital formation. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) expects inflation to remain moderate in 2022, closer to its long-term average, while core inflation is likely to remain modest this year. The central bank would remain vigilant on the ongoing developments in demand and cost pressures and would continue to actively engage with industry players to examine price dynamics closely as economic conditions improve. BNM Governor Tan Sri Noor Shamsiah Muhammad Yunus said the nation is nowhere near the risk of very high inflation. She said this is because upward consumer price pressure had mainly been due to COVID-19 pandemic-driven supply chain disruptions, as demand recovers in tandem with improving economic conditions due to COVID-19 vaccination progress. BNM said in a statement on Friday that Malaysia's CPI increased 3.2% in Malaysia's fourth quarter of 2021 from a year earlier. For 2021, average inflation was 2.5% compared to a deflation of 1.2% in 2020.
This weekend, TVS brings you a star-studded romantic comedy from the 1980s Hong Kong. The story follows a college graduate Paul who strikes up an acquaintance with a beautiful Monica at a subway station. He also met another girl, Anita, who immediately admires and has a crush on him. Anita tries every possible means to win Paul's heart, but Paul has fallen in love with Monica too deeply. Monica, meanwhile, has her own love affair issues that complicates a lot of things. How will this young love end? Don't forget to watch Leslie Cheung, Maggie Cheung, and Anita Mui in Behind the Yellow Line. Saturday, 12 February, 8:45 p.m. especially on TVS Channel 122, Astro and MyTV.
Hai, kami Kirigeres. Ibu lupa temu janji kita Sabtu dengan Ahad tok di Inspirasi TVS. Banyak cerita menarik yang penuh inspirasi kami nak kongsikan dengan kita orang semua. Ibu lupa Sabtu dengan Ahad tok pukul 8.35 malam. Jumpa di sini.
Thank you for staying with me. Now, as Brunei detected its first locally transmitted Omicron cases amid the third wave of COVID-19 infections, the Sultanate is now urging its citizens to get early third dose vaccination. On Wednesday, 441 new cases were reported in the kingdom, a sharp increase from Monday's figure of 368. To brief us on the situation, we have our Brunei correspondent, Paula Malay Ali.
This past weekend saw a marked increase in regards to the coronavirus here in Negara Brunei Darussalam, with almost 400 new cases detected. At 377, we have now seen the highest tally since the middle of October last year, which was 504 a day. Saturday's corona case count is almost double the 140 record number of infections detected that very morning. The Health Minister, Yang Berhormat Datuk Dr. Haji Muhammad Isham Jaafar, has been making strides regardless of the surge in cases and is anticipating how we will deal with Omicron and the one case already being detected in the country. Appearing alongside the Health Minister at the press conference was the Education Minister, Yang Berhormat Datuk Haji Hamzah Haji Sulaiman. He has said kindergartens can operate at 80% capacity from February the 7th. Now, this has caused slight alarm for parents who are concerned that all their younger children have yet to be vaccinated. However, it's not all doom and gloom, with some slight tweaks in the SOPs. For example, the isolation period for primary close contacts has been shortened from 10 days to 5 days. And under revised health protocols, people who have been in close contact with positive COVID cases will no longer need to be ordered to immediately undergo PCR tests. They'll instead use an antigen rapid test and will then proceed to a swab test for PCR testing. Positive cases may stay home and isolate and report to the Brunei Health app for monitoring. Now, the main agenda at the moment in our Sultanate is to decrease PCR testing, as ART has been found to be ineffective in detecting the Omicron variant. Please stay safe to all of our viewers. From Brunei Darussalam, this is Paula Malay Ali for TVS.
Now wrapping up the Nightline, China hopes the United States will remove additional tariff on Chinese goods and end its sanction and crackdowns as soon as possible to create conditions for trade cooperation. U.S. trade data revealed a massive shortfall in China's commitment to increase U.S. purchases under former U.S. President Donald Trump's Phase 1 trade deal implemented 2 years ago. Meanwhile, the Biden administration is considering a new China tariff probe if talks fail to persuade Beijing to follow through on promised purchases of U.S. goods, energy, and services. Other than that, the administration is also considering other options, such as working more closely with U.S. allies to present a united front to China. China met less than 60% of its purchasing goal, failing to make good on its promise to increase U.S. purchases by $200 billion above 2017 levels during 2020 and 2021, a two-year period disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic and supply chain bottlenecks. Myron Brilliant, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce head of international affairs, said the chamber supports the Biden administration's talk with Chinese officials to hold them to the Phase 1 commitments. The Trump administration used Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, a statute aimed at combating trade partners' unfair practices, to launch tariffs of hundreds of billions of dollars in Chinese imports in 2018 and 2019. A new Section 301 probe could take a year before any new tariffs or other trade actions are recommended. Brilliant said that based on his consultations with the administration, any actions would not involve tariffs in the short term. And that wraps up the Nightline for tonight. I'm Henny Gui. Stay safe and have a pleasant evening.